Hi, so let's talk about multi-tracking guitars. A long while ago, I made a video talking about single tracking versus multi-tracking. It was a decent video, except I used a crappy amp in my demonstration, so it was a single track, double track, triple track, and quad track of a crappy amp. So let's try to fix things up a little bit, and let's do it through some plugins that sound decent, and hopefully a manner that doesn't sound like crap and is a little bit easier to follow visually. Maybe not exciting, but in a way that certainly gets the information across. I'm going to be using some clips from Honey and Sulphur. I'll be using two different sections. One section will be up to a 4-track, the other section will be up to a 3-track. To sort of get the idea across of the tonal differences between the different methods. So we're going to jump over to FL Studio and you can have a look. Okay, so here we have a handful of tracks here for Honey and Sulphur. First thing I'm going to play is the single track. This is going to be a single distorted track, and we'll have a listen to how this sounds. As you can hear, sounds pretty good. Nice, chunky, heavy metal. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and double track it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and pan that hard left. So I've got a track hard left and hard right. And we'll see how that sounds. As you can hear, that's nice and thick, nice and chunky. It's got this big, wide sound in there. We're going to do something else now. We'll move up to a triple track. I'm going to take this line here, and what this is going to do is it's going to run to this line here, which is currently centered, and we're going to see how that sounds. That's quite a bit wider, quite a bit thicker as well. A bit harder to make out like the individual notes in there. Good for like the heavy chugging if you want this big thick sound. It's useful for me whenever I don't have a wide enough sound, because I don't have a bass. So what I'll typically do is have a third track that is usually mixed a bit quieter than this here. I would bring it down a little bit, just sort of fill in some of the blanks in there. But I'm going to go ahead, pan that hard left and hard right as well, and we'll have a listen to how that sounds. That's definitely a lot thicker. For faster sections like this, where there's a lot of fast picking, I probably wouldn't do this, because you kind of miss a lot of the fine details when running it. But it's up to personal preference how you would like to do it. Something I like to do actually is I learned this trick from a handful of people on YouTube. I think Misha Mansour also did this as well. Change the panning to something like 70% left and 70% right. I also like to bring it down in the mix a little bit. So I'll copy that and paste that there. So it's not quite filling in everything. It's got a little bit of a center track as well, and it's just adding a little extra something, and it's not too incredibly dense. Yeah. I think that sounds. I think that's a nice compromise. If you want to have 4 tracks, and I'd recommend doing this method, to sort of add a little bit of that extra bassiness in there. If you're like me and you don't have a bass, then that's a good solution, at least for the short term, with handling that. So you might consider that. I'm going to move on to another fast part here. I'm going to take this line and I'm going to go ahead and center that, and we're going to have a listen to this, and we'll work from here. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not the best at tremolo picking, so odds are I'll need to go back and redo this line here. But regardless, let's go ahead and throw in our second track, and let's have a listen to how this sounds. A little bit better. Double tracking is really great for those fast parts. If you're like me and you screw up in areas like here where you can't quite pick it. So it helps to cover up those little inconsistencies. That's not a cop-out for bad playing or trying to edit over something, just something to keep in mind. But let's go ahead and throw in this third track. This is a little quieter than the previous. I'll go ahead and pull this back up. And what cab am I running on here? Okay, I'm running the same cab as the others. We'll have a listen to this and we'll see how this goes. Definitely adds a lot of extra beefiness to it. Much like double tracking, it helps to cover up some of the imperfections in the playing. Although I would strongly recommend, like I'm going to do here in a little while, retrack this so that it's a lot cleaner. Get your picking hand down. This is a terrible thing I've done here, but something I recommend for a third track is, like the double track option here, go ahead and pull this down a little bit, and maybe also choose another cabinet to add an extra dimension, an extra texture to the playing, so that's not just over the top and extremely in your face. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Personally, I like using the quad track, but I'll put the third and fourth guitars on a different track with a different cab to get some different tonal qualities there, get a different amp sound, sort of give it a little something extra. Some people might say that a little bit of extra, isn't favorable, or they might have a different kind of approach to it. And what you can do is you can just change the EQ, you can change the cabinet you're using, you could change guitars and do that, and that would probably work out pretty well. But this is kind of something that I like to use. This is my general approach to, if I want to go up to 3 and 4 tracks, this is sort of how I'll do it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was entertaining. I hope this was informative. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace.